Good morning and a very warm welcome, dear students, to the first class in the subject EST 120 Basics of Civil Engineering. So, I'll be dealing with this subject. So, in the previous session, we had a discussion on what is civil engineering. We gave you a brief idea on what is civil engineering and the various disciplines, etc. During the induction program. Also, in the session after that, I had given you a brief outline on the syllabus, the process of internal assessment, the university exam pattern, etc. Today we'll move on to the topics as prescribed in the syllabus. So we'll start with module 1. So in module 1, we'll be discussing various topics, and for today we are going to discuss these two topics under module 1, general introduction to civil engineering and the relevance of civil engineering in the overall infrastructural development of the country. So what is civil engineering? So before that, what is engineering? So engineering is actually a word that is coined from, or it is derived from a Latin word ingenious, which means a clever person. So we can say that an engineer actually cleverly uses the available natural resources for the benefit of mankind. Also, an engineer provides comfort to mankind and makes life more comfortable. So engineering, we can say, is the application of the scientific and mathematical knowledge and rational thinking to improve the living standards of human beings, or the living standards on earth. Now coming to what is civil engineering. So civil engineering is the art of directing great sources of nature for the use and convenience of man. So we can say that civil engineers have one of the world's most important jobs, because they build the nation, or they build the world. They are the ones who build the world, and they are also problem solvers, and they meet the challenges of pollution, the traffic congestion, drinking water and energy needs, urban redevelopment, and also community planning. So unlike any other engineering profession, civil engineers or civil engineering has always provided enduring monuments and everlasting legacies. We know from the pyramids of Egypt to the Roman aqueducts to the Taj Mahal to the Great Wall of China to the Empire State Building, the Hoover Dam, and likewise even the Golden Gate Bridge, and there are likewise so many. The list goes on, isn't it? So many enduring monuments have been contributed have been a contribution of this so-called civil engineers. So it is also considered to be one of the oldest branch of engineering next to military engineering. So all engineering works other than for military purposes were grouped into civil engineering. Or we can say civil engineering is a professional engineering discipline which deals with the analysis, the design, the construction and maintenance of the infrastructural facilities like the buildings, the bridges, the dams, the roads, the railways, etc. Or it can be defined as the application of the physical, mathematical and scientific principles for the convenience of civilization, or for the convenience of mankind. Also, it is John Smeaton who was the first self-proclaimed civil engineer who built the Edison Lighthouse in the year 1771. So when somebody asks you who is the first civil engineer, it is John Smeaton. Now, like I told you, civil engineering is everywhere. So everywhere, every day in your day-to-day life, everything you come across, there is civil engineering, isn't it? So it can be said as a composite of many specific disciplines. So in the induction program, we also gave you a brief idea on various disciplines of civil engineering, or the various branches of civil engineering. So we can say that civil engineering is a composite of many disciplines like the structural engineering, the water supply engineering, the waste material management and engineering, foundation engineering, geotechnical engineering, so on and so forth. So we can say that civil engineering is everywhere. Now coming to the infrastructure. So what do you understand by the term infrastructure? So infrastructure is the framework of the supporting system consisting of, say, transportation, communication, energy, lifeline facilities, the irrigation facilities, etc. So So it is something which actually supports this whole system. And like you can see, some of the infrastructural constructions are here, like listed in this figure. So infrastructure is something which supports the system, the whole system, which provides comfort for comfort to the mankind. And economically, the infrastructure are the structural members that allow for the production of the goods and services without themselves being part of the production process. When you say, for example, the roads, you can take the roads will allow the transportation of the raw materials and the finished products, though it is not directly involved in the production or the production of the product. It helps to transport the raw material. So we can say that economically they are structural members that will allow for the production of goods without being a part of the production process. Now infrastructure means it deals with so many fields, like the transportation, the television network, the telephone network, the energy sector, the agricultural activities, the construction activities, etc. So now we'll see what are the, here again some pictures showing some bridges and roads. Now we'll see what are the impact of the infrastructural development of a country. So whenever there is a development in a country, there are so many impacts of this development. So when it comes to the infrastructural development, these are the impacts. We'll see what are they. So increase in the food production, so that is a positive impact. Then it protects from the drought, famine, flood. So all these natural disasters, it can protect the humanity or life from the various natural disasters. Then it also provides a healthy and comfortable housing facility. So whenever there is a development in the infrastructure, that will lead to a healthy and a more comfortable facility for shelter. Then it provides safe domestic and industrial water supply. So we usually know that water that is provided to community is taken from the natural sources. So in order to make the water fit for drinking, we have to treat the water. We can't directly take water from a river and serve for a community, so we will have to treat it. So all this provision of safe and domestic domestic as well as industrial water supply, it is all an impact of the infrastructural development. Then improvement in the communication and the transportation. So there will be a great improvement in the communication system as well as the transportation, for example the roads, the railways, the airports, etc. Then generation of electricity from the nuclear, the hydel, the thermal, solar or the wind energy is again an impact of the infrastructural development. It also improves the overall health, it improves the standard of living, and it makes a nation prosperous. Or we can say overall the development in the infrastructure will lead to the overall growth of any nation. So these are the impacts of the infrastructural development of a country. Now how does it the infrastructural facility, what is the impact on the socio-economic growth of a nation? So we'll see what it is. So socio-economic growth, infrastructural development can be it has its own pros and cons. We can't say everything will be positive. There may be some negative impact as well. So firstly, large scale budget allocation for infrastructure will lead to the agricultural and the industrial developments. So whenever a country or a government plans infrastructural development project, what they will have to allocate budget, isn't it? So when a budget is allocated, what happens, that will lead to more development, whether it is in the agricultural side or the industrial development. Then it provides employment, so the problem of unemployment can be resolved. So whenever there is a project or a development happening, many people will be required, isn't it? So what happens is they will be employed. So by providing employment, what happens, poverty can be eradicated and it will increase the, or it will enhance the per capita income. There is another drawback, like whenever there is a growth in the urban area, so urban growth will actually lead to the drift or the people from the rural area coming and settling in the urban areas. There will be a drift of population from rural areas to rural sectors to the urban sector. So this will lead to the explosion in the population. So what happens? Eventually, or there will be inadequate development of the villages or the rural area, and also there will be no much care provided for the or given to the agricultural sector. Also, use of infrastructural facility only by the upper class will lead to the imbalance in a society. So when only the upper class has the privilege to use the facilities of infrastructure and the lower class is deprived of it, what happens? That will lead to imbalance. So this is also one of the drawback or one impact of the infrastructural facility on the socio-economic growth. Now coming to the role of civil engineers in the infrastructural development. So we know that civil engineers actually play a great role. They play a immense role in the infrastructural development of a nation. So they are the ones who constructs the roads, the railways, the harbors, the airports, etc. Right from the planning to designing, planning to analysis to design and execution. Everywhere the civil engineer has a role. Then also, like I said, the construction of the dams and proper utilization of the water resources. So dams are constructed to store the water, and then these water resources will be used or it will be treated and provided to the community, isn't it? Public water supply schemes. So here also civil engineering has a major role to play. Then construction of the various housing, commercial as well as the industrial complexes. So here again the civil engineer will come into action. Then not only the construction, you just can't construct a road or a bridge or whatever it is and say that, that is it. No, you have to be there even to maintain this facility so that the community can or the people can use it for a longer duration. So apart from construction and implementation or planning, designing or implementation, even the maintenance is done by the civil engineers. So they have a role in maintaining the facilities. Then rebuilding, rehabilitation, retrofitting and repair. So any structure eventually can be damaged or there may be some need to repair or rebuild the structures. So here again the civil engineers will have a major role to play. And also civil engineers will monitor the land, water and air pollution and also find out measures or take measures to control them. So here again we can say that a civil engineer has a role to play. So these are all the roles or just a few roles of a civil engineers in the overall infrastructural development. Here some more pictures showing some infrastructural developments. So thank you dear students. So with that we just have a brief, you just got a brief introduction to what is civil engineering, what are the impacts of the infrastructural developments and the role of civil engineers. So in the next class we will be discussing what are the various components of a building, the types of buildings, etc. So thank you all.